So today we got some more Iran news. We got some more, uh, you know, the Middle East. It just it's on fire. Everything sucks. Our our big beautiful president might have made a little oopsie daisy. um, so yeah, we're gonna start like we usually do with some YouTube videos, more news centered. We're gonna start with Iran. This first one is the breaking news of the day. Another four service members, U.S. service members, were killed in a refueling plane crash in Iraq. One thing that I think goes a little underappreciated sometimes is the amount of logistics and technical support needed to do all of these bombing campaigns and bombing missions. Lots of these things, especially with B2s, which I heard the other day, they said we're using, they need to be refueled once, at least once, to get over the airspace of Iran. And all of that comes with risks and technical logistical support, friendly fire potentials. I don't know if they're going to claim friendly fire on this one as well. This is kind of the first news video that I'm going to watch about it. I read an article this morning when I woke up, but there wasn't a lot of details in it. So yeah, let's see what's going on, why these four people definitely needed to die, definitely 100% for the cause of something. We're trying to do something over there. They had to die for something. So let's see what the big beautiful channel BBC has to say about it.
Just to bring you some breaking news that we brought you earlier, just to give you more details, US CENTCOM has confirmed that 4 of the 6 crew members on board an aircraft that crashed in Iran.
I think it might have been upped actually. It might be all 6 at this point. This might be a little. This is from 6 hours ago, so it might be a little bit behind.
Iraq have died. Rescue efforts are continuing there over this refueling jet. It came down at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on March the 12th. It's a US KC-135 refueling aircraft that went down in western Iraq. As I mentioned there, the US CENTCOM is saying that 4 people were confirmed dead. They are continuing to investigate the incident, but they have said that the loss of aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire.
Wait,
should
what?
give you more details on
Not due to either one.
due to hostile fire. Continuing to investigate the incident, but they have said that the loss of aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire.
What? What was it? Like a strong gust of wind? Like, man, the Imperial power always like I was assuming they would just say it was friendly fire again. That's what they said with the last one. They never under any circumstance want to admit that like Iran took one out or something. It was over Iraq, so I don't know if Iran took it out. But I don't even know what they're trying to claim when they say it wasn't friendly fire or enemy fire. I guess God took it out for some reason.
More details on that as we get them. Now, as we approach 2 weeks since the US and Israel first struck Iran, killing the country's supreme leader and sparking a conflict spanning across the Middle East, there seems to be no let-up. So where are we in this conflict, and are the aims of the US any clearer? Let's talk now to our chief international correspondent, Lise Doucet. Good to always see you, Lise. You've covered wars and conflicts.
We'll see what she has to say, but to me, I still have no idea what the goals are.
For many years. You've seen civilian suffering firsthand. Can you tell us a little bit about the actual cost of human life here and what this war is doing to the children of this region?
I think, Nomia, there's been a growing concern that even the language about this war has been very dehumanizing. The way that
You
the
don't
U.S.
say.
Defense Secretary, or as he calls himself, the Secretary of War, Peter Hegseth, talks about death and destruction every day. They talk about when they go after an Iranian tanker, they could have bombed it, but they sunk it because it's more fun.
Yeah, I mean, but have you considered that that not killing civilians and children and elderly people, that's woke. Sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, but you must not understand. Like that's woke shit. We don't do that anymore.
to sink a tanker, and you get this sense of that it's almost a war game, and even in war, words matter. And of course, our colleagues, Tom Bateman and the State Department and other journalists, continue to press American officials, including President Trump, to give clearer answers about what happened on the very first day of the war, the same morning that the salvos were targeting the compound of the supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei and other security chiefs. They also, according to BBC Verify, a U.S. Tomahawk missile hit a military base in southern Iran, which was very close.
This is just the Israelification of the American military. Israel like is much further along the fascist pipeline in terms of like how dehumanizing they have to be, how brutal they have to be. America is getting there, but they're not quite there yet. Or like the Israel's dehumanization campaigns have like started to spread into America, but we still like try to pretend like we're like a little bit better, a little bit more moral than they are, and don't usually openly say that we're like targeting schools and stuff or whatever. Um, so this is actually one of the first huge, like purely civilian, like quote unquote accidents that America has ever engaged in. Like or like in modern, probably like more like modern warfare or whatever. Um, so yeah, I don't know. We're just slowly getting the demor the as America's power like wanes and there's less and less uh like it's going to start lashing out more and more, and it's going to come with a corresponding degradation of the moral character of the nation, right? I think Chris Hedges has talked about this a lot. There's a degradation in just morality in general as a nation, as an empire starts to wane, and we're just kind of starting to get there. It's probably going to get a lot worse. If you've seen how Israel behaves and acts, I would guess that America is going to start doing a lot more of that shit in the future.
To a school, and Iran says that in that school and in the surrounding area, 168 people were killed and more than 110 children. And the United States just continues to say that they're investigating. And every day someone else is commenting that this should be taken seriously, that even in
Yeah,
war
it should.
there are rules,
Yeah,
and there
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 used to
are
be.
reports too that
They're more like guidelines. That's how America thinks about them.
all of the other countries in the region, most importantly in Lebanon, which is described as the Southern Front, children's charities are expressing concern about the impact on children there, as children are on the run again, hundreds of thousands displaced, not going to school. Infrastructure is being targeted too in Iran, which means that the lives of everyone is affected, including the most innocent of all, and that is the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I joke about the big beautiful channel up here because sometimes they have some ghouls and sometimes they have really terrible framing on stuff. This is actually a very rare occurrence where they're really doing a decent job of humanizing and like giving the Iranian and Lebanese perspective. I mean, obviously they're not as good as they could be still, but they're doing a lot better this time than some of the other videos I've watched.
Lisa, you were in Iran recently, and there is a distinction that Iranians do make, isn't there, between Persian people and the Islamic public. I, I wonder about your assessment in terms of the impact this war is having.
They're not the only ones who make that distinction, by the way. I know a lot of people out in like West Hollywood or whatever, like expats who do not under any circumstance consider themselves like Iranian or Islam. Like they very much consider themselves Persian. What the expats do.
On people, is it blurring that line? Is it sharpening it? Is there going to be a rally around the flag type of effect? What's your assessment of that?
Iran, of course, is a vast country, 3 times the size of Iraq, more than 92 million people. The population is predominantly Persian, more than 50%, but there are also very large minorities, including the Kurds in the west and the Arabs, significant Arab population too, along the Iraqi border, the Azeris, And it was in the Kurdish area where our viewers may remember in the early days of the war, there was a whole series of reports that the Iranian Kurds were going to be armed and they were going to start trying to get a foothold by taking over a corner of Iran. They're being armed not just by the U.S. but also by Israel, and then those reports have gone away. And what we get most recently is no.
It's interesting. I actually kind of believe those at first. The Kurds have historically been used and abused by America in particular, all across the region to destabilize these countries, and they get shafted every single time. Um, they're essentially a people without a nation state. I'm glad that whatever shenanigans we were trying to pull with them didn't really bear fruit. Um, I hope that one day they can get the justice that they deserve as well. But I guarantee you it will not be at the hands of America or Israel.
Oh, that new front is not going to open. I really felt it. I've been going to Iran for many years, but on our last trip in February, I really felt it was a country which was pulling in different directions at a crossroads. That the regime, the clerical regime, still has its supporters, but Iranians had gone out in huge numbers across the country in January. Some of them calling for economic change, for their lives to change because they're suffering more year on year and sometimes even more day by day at that time from the spiraling inflation, from the collapsing currency, from years of economic mismanagement and corruption. But there were many more who were
I
also
assume this isn't from, if they're talking about the protests, I assume this isn't from the protests. They all seem to be holding like placards and stuff with like the supreme leader's face, so I would assume this wasn't from the protests.
calling not just for quick fixes on the economy, but for fundamental change in the regime to bring down the order. And yet, as we've been hearing from Iranians in Tehran, it's difficult to hear it. Our colleagues in the BBC Persian service are getting messages that even those who had called for protest, even those who had dared to hope that the start of the war was the beginning of the end of the Islamic Republic, they now find themselves in the midst of attacks on crowded residential
Yeah.
streets. They're seeing the attacks, which
So
are
they learned very quickly. Like they learned, I guess, very quickly that America's not going to be their salvation. I know that there are plenty of people in Iran who want to see a more secular, like liberal society or whatever. Um, but unfortunately, the nature of the Islamic State, like the way that it is, the way that it behaves, and how brutal it can be, and its crackdowns and stuff, and how uh, necessary it sees the like Islam as a fundamental part of the national character. Uh, like that's basically born out of America fucking with it so much, right? Like there were times in the past where there could have been like a, secular revolution that could have produced a less is like a less fundamentalist sort of vision of the country. But those were all shot down by America and like destabilized and like undone with like America's support or whatever. Um, so I think that I don't know. It's almost like if you know anything about Israel as well, they constantly prop up Hamas or like more extreme versions of resistance in a way like to kind of uh, because they don't want to see like a more like uh, liberal or like secular sort of like a more reasonable group take charge or whatever, because then it would make their arguments about them all being fundamentalists and like wanting to like murder every Jew that they can find or whatever. Like it would make all of that like propaganda start to not work as well. And so um I don't know. I think the people in Iran who were hoping for some sort of like revolution, like secular revolution or whatever, very quickly realized that that's never going to come at the hand of like an at the end of an American gun. It's just not. And I hope that they keep that in mind in the future.
damaging Iran's infrastructure, even Iran's prized heritage sites. And many of them are now questioning whether or not this war is good for Iran and good for the future of Iran.
And Lise, also just the long-term strategy of Iran. Iran probably tends to think in centuries and not news cycles. What is the strategy here for the Islamic Republic?
Iran was never going to fight a conventional military war against the world's mightiest power, the United
Hmm.
States. They have always specialized in what we call an asymmetric war, in which it is two unequal military powers, and one of them, in this case, Iran, uses unconventional military means.
Yeah, and you have to when you're going against America. It would be really stupid for any country other than maybe China, and I say maybe China, to go for like any sort of. Actually, I think China would probably be fine. I take that back. But like to go for like a non-asymmetric style or whatever of warfare. If you try to do a conventional war against America, you're going to get your shit rocked. Like every middle power, every lower power, even some of the like superpowers will get their shit rocked if they try to do a conventional war against America. The only thing you can do is this sort of asymmetric thing where you are just trying to survive and you're just trying to inflict as much cost and pain. And this has been a strategy for so long and it's been tried and tested by Vietnam, by Afghanistan, by these various like smaller countries like who have successfully defended against an imperial attack on their country with these exact same strategies. So Iran is just doing, what they have to do if they want to survive this. And it's all, like, in my opinion, very good strategy by them.
And that is what Iran has spent decades at trying to perfect. It's always been said in Iran they play a long game. And this is what we are seeing, that they have decided that this is a battle for survival. And the only way for them to survive is to try to ratchet up the price, not just for the region, but for the wider global economy. And that's what we're seeing with Iran basically stopping tankers and also tankers carry not just oil, but vital ingredients needed for fertilizer, so that oil prices are going up.
Hmm.
Food prices are also going to see an impact. And in their attacks
My
in
beef,
countries
my
across the
burger.
Persian Gulf, they're no longer just attacking US military bases as they talk about. They're attacking tourism infrastructure, hotels and airport and data centers. They want to make it
Ooh, the
absolutely
data centers, man. I say knock them all out. If they got any extra missiles that they could shoot over this way, any of those intercontinental drones that they were going to send to California, if they could like shoot a couple of our data centers over here, man, please, dear God, I hate those things.
clear that if anyone should try to think again about starting a war, they should know.
Oh, and also, by the way, I do think that those data centers provide intelligence and, technologic capabilities to the American military. So I actually do view those as valid military targets, in case people are curious.
The risks and the costs. So even if President Trump should wake up tomorrow and declare in his terms that he's already that there's they claiming victory in this war, it's not clear whether Iran is ready to give up this long war. And that was certainly the message yesterday from the first speech, whether it was written by
I'll have to,
Mushtaba Khamenei
yeah.
or himself, that it was
Thank
really a
you.
message of
I'll have to cut
defiance.
you off, Lise. Thank you so much for your analysis there. That's our chief international correspondent, Lise Doucet.
She's like, you're dehumanized. You're giving people too much information. We got to hide this shit. Oh, wow.
You're watching BBC News. The US is allowing the temporary sale of some Russian oil to try to boost global supplies and ease prices. The US Treasury approved a license covering oil and petroleum products already at sea, saying the short-term measure would not give a significant financial boost to Moscow. This is Brent crude has settled above
How would that
$100 a
not
barrel
happen?
for the first time since 2022. That's amid the ongoing disruption caused by the US-Israel war with Iran. Stocks fall as Iran vows.
So this is like classic overextension stuff, right? We're fighting a proxy war in Ukraine. Now we're going with a full war against Iran. We did a soft war action in Venezuela. We're trying to strangle Cuba. Like, um, if you've ever heard of the term like an empire being overextended, like this is what it means. It's usually what the pretense or like the precondition for the like total and complete collapse of an empire, which by the way is not something that happens overnight. Like I think a lot of people think like, oh, it'll just like everything will come crashing in and everything will like happen all at once, the economy collapses and then immediately America gets put on the back burner by China. It'll probably be like a 10, 20-year process or whatever as America slowly declines, but and predicting when that is, I always say, is a fool's errand. However, all of these are the preconditions that have happened with every other empire that has historically declined. So, just to put that in a little bit of context for people.
To keep the Strait of Hormuz closed, the BBC's North America business correspondent Michelle Fleury has more on warnings coming from energy and economic leaders.
The global oil shock is raising alarms from some of the world's top economic and energy experts. It's also rattling financial markets. The Dow and the S&P 500 both closed down about 1.5% on Thursday, with tech stocks facing even steeper losses. Since the start of the year, the Nasdaq is now down a total of 4%.
Uh-oh.
With the Strait of Hormuz
My
almost
401k.
impassable to shipping, producers in the Gulf have cut oil production by at least 10 million barrels a day. That's according to the International Energy Agency. Now, a former head of the agency warned the disruption we're seeing is unprecedented.
Iran is actually,
I like
think,
that, Rod.
succeeding in inflicting enormous economic damage on the global economy, and it's hitting California, $8 gasoline, apparently.
And the
California.
potential economic
That's what they get for being commie over there. Am I right, guys?
fallout could extend far beyond energy. The head of the conference board told us
Where's
companies
your green energy now, Callie?
are already preparing to pull back.
Our projections at the conference board are that GDP growth will be hit by this somewhere between 10 and 30 basis points, which doesn't
Oh
sound
no,
like a lot, but
not my GDP. Okay, sorry. We know the economy's fucked. Like anybody who lives in America already knows the economy is fucked. Like I don't need to hear some economist talk about a percentage drop of the GDP and how that's going to affect my life as, an average everyday worker or whatever. Like I don't know, these suits, they could learn it. They could learn a thing or two from us, us working folk. You know what I'm saying?